What's up, y'all? It's Ty. In this video today, we've got a tier list of basically all of our best and recent dark matters in NBA 2K25 MyTEAM. So what exactly is this tier list going to be? How is it going to work? Well, basically, I'm going to be ranking cards from S tier being the best of the best through F tier. Now, basically, every card we got in Season 6 is going to be on here. All of this, the Dark Matters we got on the last drop of Season 7, or Season 5, I should say, are going to be here as well. And then it's just the best Dark Matters around those couple of dates. So, hopefully that makes sense for you guys. As we do dive into our first card, Dark Matter Austin Reaves. If you're new to the channel, smash that subscribe button. As always, I appreciate all the support. Austin Reaves is fine. It's just like at this stage, he's no longer what he once was. And so I do think D tier is the right tier for Austin Reaves. I'm not hating on Austin Reaves, but I do think D tier is the right place for him. You know, he's going to be fine. He's going to be able to knock down shots for you, be a decent shot creator. It's just like defensively at this stage, he's just not necessarily ideal. So I am going to go D tier with Mr. Austin Reaves as being a good card, a solid, I shouldn't say good card, but solid enough card that can knock down shots for you in this game. B-Roy, Brandon Roy up next. I still really like Brandon Roy. I think the problem with B-Roy, and again, I already think I'm missing out on like a Dark Matter Dr. J. I'm going to miss out on some people. So just realize, like, if a card came out in, like, Season 4 or something, they might not be featured on this list. It doesn't mean they're bad. It just means I forgot about him. B-Roy is really good. His release is so easy to time, easy to green. The problem that I see with Brandon Roy is, at this stage, with all of the great cards that we do have, it's just like there are better cards in the game. Like, more importantly than better cards in the game, there's just taller shooting guards in the game. And so B-Roy, I think, is B tier. I think that's the right spot for him. Joel Embiid up next. I'm going to throw him at B tier as well. It's crazy that still to this day, Joel Embiid is on my squad. Like, that is crazy. The card came out a very long time ago and he's still playing for me. Thing about Embiid, though, is he's going to be able to play and compete at a really high level. So I do think B tier is the right tier. Gary Payton up next, the glove. I'm going to go C tier. Do think he is better than Austin Reaves. The problem I have with Gary Payton is I just think he is too undersized to really be that hype about him. I think C tier is fine. I think that's the right tier. He's got a great release. Offensively, he's going to be a cheese ball. But I do think C tier is ultimately right for Mr. Gary Payton. Chet up next. I'm going to go B tier. I do think Joel Embiid's better at center than Chet, though. And so, like, side by side, you got to compare the cards. Thing for Chet that I've never loved is that release. I can't get behind that release. That release to me is just not one that I love. And again, I've used Chet and play now a lot with the Oklahoma City Thunder. And his release is just not one that I'm very consistent with. And until I'm getting, more and more consistent with Chet, it's going to be kind of a tough go for Chet. I think B tier is the right tier. Obviously, 100 overall Chet is slightly better. Ron Artest up next. I am a firm believer that Ron Artest is not that good. I don't see it. When people run Ron Artest, I just think to myself, like, thank you. Like, the card's going to knock down the occasional shot, sure, but who can't? The card's release is not that great. The card can't really create his own shot. I think C tier is the right tier for Ron Artest. There's nothing that he does that blows me away whatsoever. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is going to be our first A tier card. I think Kareem is that step above, right? The thing for Kareem is he is going to be able to knock down shots. He's going to play great defense. He's going to do all those things. But I think the difference really for Kareem lies with the fact that he is 7'2", right? And you can't make up for that, right? If a card is 7'2", you've got to hype them up. You've got to, appreciate them. You've got to gas them up a little bit. So I am going to go A tier for Kareem. I do think that's ultimately where the card does belong. But if you don't want to put Kareem at A tier, like, again, I'm fine listening to what you have to say. I'm just saying, I love Kareem. The only downside to Kareem, if there is a downside, is his release, right? His release at this stage is just not necessarily great, not necessarily ideal. But Kareem is definitely an A tier caliber player. There really is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Kareem is the real deal. Next up, Michael Porter Jr. I'm going to go D tier. I don't know why people gas up Michael Porter Jr. I know he can knock down shots. I think his defense is subpar. I don't think he does anything that great. So I am going to go D tier with MPJ. David Robinson up next. I'm going to go B tier. Don't think he's quite as good as Kareem. I do like D-Rob more than the average person, though. So just kind of realize that I don't hate D-Rob whatsoever. Even when it comes down to the release of David Robinson, I personally don't hate it. I know there's a lot of people that don't necessarily like the release of David Robinson, but for me, I don't hate it whatsoever. So for me, throwing the card at B tier. Lonzo Ball, I gotta go B tier. I don't think Lonzo is that great on this game. Obviously, I don't think the card is horrible. But I mean, there are people that gas Lonzo up way too much, in my opinion. Look, I know he's 6'6", but he's not that great at this stage. Adam Morrison up next. B tier, maybe. I don't necessarily love Adam Morrison, and honestly, I don't see a ton of people running Adam Morrison at this stage. But I mean, who would run Adam Morrison at this stage? I guess would be my question. I do think B tier is the right tier for Mr. Adam Morrison. Kawhi Leonard up next. When we talk about dark matters, he's got to be S tier, I think. I mean, he's going to knock down shots. His fade going right is elite. I think my biggest flaw with Kawhi at this point is, like, we're in the era, we're in the time in which everybody's got these, 6'9", 6'10", 6'11" shooting guards, right? Kawhi isn't that. He brings you a little different shooting guard, whereas like his on-ball defense is elite, but obviously playing lanes isn't going to be quite as good. I do think he's S tier. He's my shooting guard on my squad right now, so he better be an S tier shooting guard. Josh Smith, criminally underrated on this game. I'm throwing him at S tier. I don't think there's that many better small forwards on this game that are not 100 overall than Josh Smith. Like, I genuinely don't. Josh Smith is so good on this game, from his release to his Pro 2 leaner to his ability to get me consistent stops. I just love what Josh Smith gives me. S tier for Josh Smith. I love the card. John Wall, D tier. The card stinks. Grant Hill, D tier. The card's not very good, and it pains me to put Grant Hill at D tier because we've seen decent Grant Hill cards in the past, but the past is the past. Let it be. The past is no longer what it is now. Like, again, I used to really like Grant Hill on 2K in, certain, years, but this is not a year for Grant Hill, especially right now in this game. Moses Malone, really solid card. At this stage, though, he is B tier, but I'm not going to go lower than B tier. I really like Moses. I like his release. I got to go C tier, though. I mean, Chet, Joel Embiid, and D-Rob are all taller than Moses. They're all better than Moses. J-Dub, D tier. He's just undersized. 6'5" is not getting the job done. Zach Edey, if you got him, you got to throw him at S tier. The card is, 7'5", I think, on this game. He's got a decent enough release. If you've got Zach Edey, he is S tier. Now, again, I don't know why anybody would get Zach Edey, but if you got him, he is for sure S tier. Jerry Stackhouse, really solid card. Is he A tier? Probably, right? In between the Kawhi and the B-Roy type levels. I just think, for me, was not worth getting ultimately, and if you got him, like, he's fine. Like, he's obviously really good, but again, there's just not that many people that ultimately did get the card. Next up, we see Bol Bol. I really don't love Bol Bol. I'm gonna throw him at B tier, but I do not love the card whatsoever. Tim Thomas up next. I think A tier is the right tier for Tim Thomas, but I gotta go S tier. Like, if Josh Smith is S tier, Tim Thomas has to go S tier. I think between the two cards, it is preference based. The average person's gonna tell you Tim Thomas is better. I'd probably lean on the other side of it, but I think both cards are deserving of S tier. Danny Granger, fine, C tier. There's nothing that really stands out about Danny Granger. He is underrated, though. Jeremy Lin, F tier, maybe the worst point guard that I'll talk about today. Terry up next. I think Terry is massively overrated. I think Danny Granger is better than Terry, and I know there's going to be people that disagree, but Terry's 6'7". He can't play shooting guard. There's nothing about that Terry card that really stands out to me. I mean, if you want to run the card, do it. But I'm just telling you, there's nothing to me that stands out about him. Chris Paul, F tier. Andre Kirilenko is a beast. And here's where things get difficult. How many small forwards do I want to put at S tier? And I got to look at something really, really, really quickly, because I got to move all these cards down. Not that I want to, but it just comes to the fact that they're not my favorite dark matter small forward in the game. And so they got to get moved down to A tier. Pau Gasol stinks, D tier. I mean, if you want to run Pau Gasol, do what you got to do. I just don't think the card's that great. Zach LaVine, he's fine. I think B tier is probably the right tier. It's crazy. Nobody really talks about Zach LaVine or hypes him up. Like, I used to really like the Pink Diamond, the Galaxy Opal Zach LaVine. I haven't gotten a chance really to use the Dark Matter Zach LaVine. But I do think B tier is probably the right spot for the card. Castle up next. I use Castle a little bit, short amount of time. I do think B tier is probably the right tier. I'm going to put him at A tier, actually. Here's the thing with Castle. He's 6'7", so he's going to be slightly taller than Lonzo. And I think that is helpful, right? And just giving you, what a card needs. I am going to go A tier with Castle. Also, guys, not Draymond Green. I do know that there's going to be certain guys like Magic Johnson not on this list, like Dr. J not on this list. Look, those cards are old. Magic Johnson would be A tier. Dr. J would probably be A tier as well. Just throwing those names out there. George Gervin, D tier. The card's not that great. Jason Kidd, an intriguing card. I do think B tier is the right tier. Higher than Gary Payton for sure. Don't think he's quite as a complete card as Stephon Castle just because of the defense. So I am going to go B tier ultimately with Jason Kidd. Andrew Wiggins, I told you guys in the past I don't love him. I'm going to throw him right in there with Ron Artest. That feels low. I feel like I'm low with Ron Artest. I'm going to move Ron Artest and Andrew Wiggins up to B tier. Maybe y'all would like that a little more. The hard part for me is I genuinely don't think I like either of those cards more than Brandon Roy. Now, I know they're going to be taller, but I'm just saying as far as like a complete shooting guard, I don't know if I like them more. Bam Adebayo, I got to go C tier. I don't mind Bam, but same tier as Moses Malone is probably the right tier. And I'm moving Adam Morrison down. I think C tier is just too high for him. Marc Gasol up next, B tier. I think Marc Gasol is a perfect B tier addition. 6'11", gonna knock down shots, has a good release. Really solid option. Jaren, B tier as well. Not a whole lot to say about Jaren. Again, 6'11", gonna knock down shots, play good defense. Dame, F tier. Aaron Gordon, F tier. Not much to say. Like, they needed to change Aaron Gordon's release, jump shot. They didn't, and because they didn't, I can't have him higher than F tier. I'm sorry, but it's just the way it is. I simply put cannot have that card higher than F tier. I can't. Like, if they would have changed the release, I would have him higher than F tier. But since they didn't change the release, I simply put can't. And I wish I could, but I simply put cannot have that card any higher. Next up, we do see Michael Beasley. This is who I saved up for, right? This is the reason AK, Tim Thomas, Josh Smith had to go at A tier because Michael Beasley is S tier. Has a good jump shot. Has, a good six. Can move and groove. Michael Beasley is a perfect addition into S tier. He literally can run your offense. Like, there's no hesitations with Michael Beasley. If you've used Michael Beasley, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The card is in S tier, and there should be really no questions asked with Michael Beasley. Easy to me addition into that S tier. One of the best small forwards in the entire game. Manu Ginobili, not bad. It's tough. A tier, B tier is tough for Manu. I'm gonna go B tier. I just don't know. Like, people are gonna say Manu's better than Jason Kidd, and maybe I've underrated Manu in the past, and so I don't want to overdo it. But I do think B tier for Manu's right. The card is really solid on the floor though. Bargnani up next. I don't love you, man. I'm going to do it C tier. I just don't love Bargnani. No, I've never played against Bargnani and been worried. I think the card is actually fine, but I don't think he's that much better than a lot of the cards at my B tier. And even like Marc Gasol or Bargnani, I'm taking Marc Gasol. I'm sorry, but I just am. Next up, Dennis Rodman, so overrated on this game. I watched a Carlo tier list, and Carlo had Dennis Rodman at like what, A tier or something. I was bamboozled. Dennis Rodman stinks. D tier is the right tier for the card. Ja Morant, F tier, the card stinks. Luol Deng is extremely good. The problem for me is he Andre Kirilenko level or not? I think I like all the cards at A tier more, but I do think Luol Deng is probably at that tier. So it is tough. I'm going to put him at A tier, but I think he's probably the worst small forward at that A tier. ISO Joe Johnson, D tier. Don't know. Gordon Hayward, F tier. I don't care. I would never, ever recommend Gordon Hayward. Alex Sarr up next. Look, I think Sarr is worse than like a Joel Embiid, but I am throwing him at B tier. I think Sarr is fine. I think you can run him and he's going to lead you to some success. Going to green shots. He's 7-1. Got to hype him up a little bit. Şengün. C tier, not great in my opinion. He's fine, right? You gotta at least somewhat respect him, but I do think C tier for Şengün is the right spot. Luka Doncic, really good point guard on this game. The only flaw with Luka is no leaner, and I am gonna put him at A tier because of the fact that he doesn't have a leaner. But Luka Doncic is really solid on this game, especially if you are needing a shot creating point guard. Luka Doncic can give you that A tier. Mark Eaton up next. Here's where things get really interesting. I'm going to go A tier with Mark Eaton. I think people can argue S tier, but there is going to be only, I think, one big man at S tier that I can think of off the top of my head, right? I already got Zach Edey there, so never mind. I lied. There's only going to be one more, and that one more is right here in Dikembe Mutombo. S tier for Dikembe. I love Dikembe. I mean, there's really no flaws with Dikembe Mutombo. Going to knock down shots, has a great player build. Easy addition into S tier. Amen Thompson up next. This one is difficult for me. I am going to throw him at S tier, but it's super difficult because I know people are going to be like, really? Now, a lot of it's just my success with Amen Thompson. His upper is really weird, but if you get used to the upper, it's so easy to time and easy to green on the leaner, right? The leaner is where you'll really notice it. I do think S tier for Amen is the right tier. Peja Stojakovic up next. I massively overrated this card when he first came out, but I still don't think Peja is bad. Now, hear me out, okay? He's 6'10". He's going to defend at a high level. He's going to knock down open shots. I think why a lot of people don't like Peja is he can't really create his own shot that well, and I get it, right? And so I am going to probably move Peja to B tier, but I don't hate Peja. If you got Peja, you got a shooting guard that's really solid. Kevin Love up next. I'm going to go B tier. Really weird and interesting card to rank. He's just so undersized. Josh Giddey up next. I'm going to go B tier. I'm going A tier. Look, Josh Giddey is 6'8". I've got to go A tier. I don't even love Josh Giddey. I don't even think he's worth getting. But I do think if you locked in or got Josh Giddey, he's A tier. Look, he's a 6'8" point guard. You can't hate on it too much with great stats. Ben Wallace. This one's extremely tough for me. Because it's like, Ben Wallace is only 6'9", but offensively he gives you so much. But I think height is so important that he's a B tier. You know, like, I don't like the fact that I've got to go B tier with Ben Wallace because his, stats are so good on this game. But it just comes down to at this stage of my team, height literally runs the game. And so it is what it is. Ben Wallace is in that B tier. Tyler Hero up next. The card's not great, D tier. Draymond Green is really solid. But as I've used Draymond Green, I've realized like that release isn't as good as like people need it to be. But defensively, he's so good. Draymond's got to go B tier. You know what? My Draymond bias is throwing him at A tier. Objectively, for most people, he's going to be B tier. But I love Draymond so much, he's at A tier. I'm sorry, he is. Karl Malone up next, A tier. I know why people don't use the card, but to say Karl Malone's not good would be, just a lie. Nah, I know people are going to be like, Ty, Karl Malone's better than Amen Thompson. Here's my thing. Amen Thompson can shot create way better than Karl Malone. Yes, defensively, Karl Malone's going to be better. You just got two really different cards, ultimately. Dominique Wilkins up next. Use the card a little bit. The card's not great, B tier. LaMarcus Aldridge. I've never actually played against LaMarcus Aldridge. I've never actually used LaMarcus Aldridge. I know people are going to gas him to be better than Amen, to be better than Kawhi, and I'm not even hating on that. The only thing for me in the back of my mind is Amen Thompson can go get a bucket, right? Even Kawhi can occasionally dribble and go get a bucket. I don't think LaMarcus Aldridge is doing that. I do think Aldridge is better than Jerry Stackhouse, though. And so this is where things get difficult, right? I am going to move Jerry Stackhouse down. And it's a simple equation, right? Like Jerry Stackhouse is not as good as, the guys that I've got at A tier. He's just not. Richardson up next. Played against him once. I wasn't super impressed with him. He is 6'10", though, at the point guard position. So, I mean, you got to somewhat respect that, I guess. I'll go A tier with the card. The card's fine. Alex English. When I tell y'all Alex English stinks, no, he stinks. You're a D tier. The card is not good whatsoever. That mellow base should be good, but it's just simply not. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I know he's a dark matter. I know the card came out so long ago, but I'm still putting him at S tier, or at A tier. I think with what he gives you offensively with that release, it's just tough for me not to hype the card up a ton. Now, again, am I gassing Shai probably too much? Probably, but it is what it is. LeBron James up next. LeBron is still elite on this game. I think you've got to throw LeBron at A tier probably. Josh Smith, Tim Thomas, Luol Deng, that type of tier. LeBron is still really good on this game. Giannis Antetokounmpo. This one is interesting. Because here's the deal with Giannis. He is still 6'11" at that small forward position. But I still don't think he's as good as Michael Beasley. And that's who the standard is at S tier at that small forward position. So I'm throwing him at A tier. And it pains me to do because I love Giannis as much as the next guy. But at the end of the day, I'm trying to make this tier list as accurate as possible for you guys. So it is what it is. I hope you guys appreciate me for doing that because it pains me to do. Because I really do like Giannis, especially the height of Giannis Antetokounmpo. on this game. Hakeem Olajuwon, last but certainly not least, I've got to throw him at B tier. It doesn't feel right that I've got all these great big men at B tier, but it's the standardized set. Hakeem, I like you, but you got to go B tier. I think if there's somebody that people are going to say I'm too high on, it's going to be Amen Thompson. But hey, I love Amen. I think the card is an absolute beast. As far as the rest of the tier list, I think this is a really solid Dark Matter tier list. You guys can let me know your thoughts on it down below in the comments. Drop a like on the video, guys. Subscribe if you are new, and as always, man, I love you guys. Have a blessed day.